everything's getting picked up for series.
I hope so.
Yeah, good God. Just that grill on Ramaswamy alone. This will be the stuff of my nightmares for years.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, there was an announcement from the bassinet. He said, the Tucker Carlson interview with me was a blockbuster. Could hit 200 million views. And more. Thank you. I hope it was enjoyed by everyone. Okay. 200 million people did not. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. I understand he ended with some jokes, as you do at the end of your set, Karl, about, I don't know, the length and girth of Chinese runways or whatever. Something. What a hot mess this party is. I mean, please, talk to us for a bit about that.
How do you solve a problem like the GOP? I don't. What is there to say? Like, there's three circuses going on right now, right? In the main circle, you've got Trump. Then you've got these, future also-rans in, that were in the debate. And then you've got the wannabe also-rans, right? The people who didn't make the debate and are suing over it. It's like, why would you sue to have an invitation to that party?
Yeah. I'm going to say that Frangela's going to say that Larry Elder made a perfectly good batch of biscuits that were rejected to get into the debate. Okay, I'm filling in for them. Okay. So it really was a weird disconnect, though, wasn't it? That you're like, oh God, don't make me like Mike Pence. But it's just on the moral question of Ukraine alone and democracy. You thought, yeah.
Before we get off on a tangent of Mike Pence love,
yeah,
I think it bears noting who Mike Pence is as a human being. Right, this is a guy who claimed that cigarettes don't hurt people. This is a guy who tried to cut funding for HIV.
Yes,
AIDS,
to give it to reparative therapy. Yes, no, exactly.
I mean, this is not a good person.
Yeah.
He's just in comparison.
Yeah. Oh, could you take your organ out for me, Chris? Plus, oh my God, could he be a bigger sanctimonious? Oh God, when I gave my life to Jesus Christ, I just know the Lord will. I was like, oh my God, he's so sanctimonious. Oh, it's just like his God talk. Was it just me? By the way, your drinking word was Soros, which was you. That was a bad. I'm surprised you're even here, Jody.
I did
Has she even slept?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Here, let's listen because I love you best. Let's listen to a little Mike Pence.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a rookie. We don't need to bring in people without experience. We need to bring
Rebel. The whole somebody made the point saying, did Mike Pence do the right thing? That question.
Yeah.
Seemed a little bit of a disconnect when then they're like, oh, would you just pardon Donald Trump? I mean, what are they trying to still have some pretense they're a party of law and order?
Yeah. Did he do the right thing? Oh, he did. And you would pardon Donald Trump? Oh, you would? What's interesting to me is he's talking about, you don't want on-the-job training, et cetera, et cetera. I guess if the training you're looking for is being thrown under the bus by a president who is unexceptional, and then not being certain whether you are going to participate in the coup until the end, I guess then Mike Pence has on-the-job training, if that's what you want in a president. But I don't think most people want that in their president.
I love David Fromm's tweet. He said, Governor DeSantis, you're dodging the issue. Mike Pence, kill him, yes or no? Right? I mean, this is Rachel Bittecofer said, I just think it's so damn funny that Pence think he could ever be the nominee when they tried to hang him. It's just... I mean, the disconnect of like so much last night, it being in this sort of alternate version of reality was unsettling for me. How about you?
Yes, but highly predictable, right? Yeah. Like, I think what's going to be interesting as these debates go on is how far down the rabbit hole these people go, right? Like, they're all going to be scrounging for that 1% here, that 2% there to try and come up with the percentage they need to stay in the debates, but also to be relevant during the campaign. And I think they will calculate that the way that they can do that is by climbing on to whatever conspiracy theory of the moment is, alive within the Republican base. The polling is indicating the woke stuff is not playing as well.
Right.
So get ready for whatever next crazy thing they're onto.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jill Wine-Banks and I both jumped on the Ron DeSantis. I was a Navy SEAL in Iraq. I was like, I Googled it like immediately. It was like, no.
She says no.
Right.
He was like legal counsel. I just thought like his sort of fake machismo also, I can't decide which part was most irritating of the debate, but just him saying that over and over again. And the minute you Google, was Ron DeSantis a Navy SEAL in Iraq? And it's like, no. He was like, assistant urinalysis officer or whatever, right?
Yeah, he had a brilliant answer on China, so he clearly, learned a lot in that job and has a lot of experience with international affairs. I think he said about China, we're going to do with China what we have to do with China, which is probably the most thoughtful white paper that a Republican candidate for president has put forward in a generation.
Yeah, here it is. Joe Weinbank said DeSantis missed with his reference to being with the Navy SEAL. Yeah, he sort of cleverly did say with. I was with them. He was a legal advisor to the SEALs and assisted with urinalysis, according to a check online. And I thought, again, Steve Schmidt with a great point. The candidates are talking about law and order, and none of them have mentioned Trump's 91 felony charges. And isn't that the only tableau you needed? Who, if he is convicted of a crime, how many would still support him? They all raised their hand except for who? Hutchinson? Mm-hmm. And I guess Christie raised his hand, but
he did this,
whatever, I guess not. But most of them, right? Don't care if he's convicted of a felony.
And this is not how you beat the front runner, right? You don't beat the front runner by not engaging in what makes you different from that person.
Right.
This is how you run, knowing that you're not going to win and that you hopefully will get some of these people to support you next time when you get to run. But, I think when you stay silent through all of this, there's not going to be another time for you.
Yeah.
And if there is another Trump president, there's probably not going to be another Republican primary. Ever.
Karl, as a former political strategist, talk to us about the political impacts of Roe, because I think we all know in state after state and after red state, it is huge. And they tried to address this last night by being disingenuous, as usual. As Jen Psaki tweeted, no one supports abortion up until birth. Norm Ornstein said the blood libel of abortion up to the time of birth is just despicable, and that the moderators reinforce it is in itself despicable.
And it doesn't actually work in elections, right? That argument does not work.
And Pence saying, 70% of Americans are for something. It was just, again, a real misrepresentation. The American people are overwhelmingly for choice, which has been proven electorally, right?
Right. They want what Roe offered, and
Right.
that's 70% of the country. And Roe provided for people to have that choice when their life is in danger, and that's when you have those late-term abortions, which are exceedingly rare. The thing about it is, though, this is the argument they make everywhere, right? And you would think that it would be persuasive in conservative states. But in places like Ohio and Kansas, Missouri, all conservative places, or certainly more conservative than the rest of the country at large, it's not persuading people. It's not having an impact. I think what they're calculating is if they don't make that argument, then they will lose even more of the Republican base to the other side. And then the bottom will fall out entirely. Because what's been difficult about polling since Roe has been correctly determining how big of a factor it's going to have in any given election.
Yeah.
But it is having a large impact in every election, right?
Yeah.
You just had another special election in New Hampshire for a state legislative seat, and the Democratic candidate outperformed Joe Biden by 20 points.
Yep. Speaking of the party of law and order, a federal judge has denied Mark Meadows and Jeffrey Clark's request to block their arrests.
Yeah.
That means they have until 12 p.m. Friday to get their ass into the Fulton County Jail. The party of law and order, except as it applies to them.
Right.
Right. But, this is where
I mean, does it take that long to find the foundation match for your mugshot? I hope they blend at the neck.
But I mean, literally, both of their arguments, Carl, we're above the law. We're special. We don't have to go, be arrested, right?
This is what happens when you take your legal theory from Donald Trump, who also thinks he's above the law and is quickly finding out that he is not.
Oh, I love the swell of flop sweat this morning. He's changing his lawyers today.
Yeah.
His arrest day before his arrest. I mean,
Smart. I think actually I think what's happening here, and this may or may not bear out to be true, but maybe the Republicans will walk away from Trump when he gets 100.
That's the magic number they're looking for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100, and even 100.
Exactly.
That would be, in the words of the former president, a perfect number.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I don't know if you want to get in on the betting pool. Rachel Bittercoffer says, will Fulton County let Trump pretend he's 6'3" and 239? The betting pool is, I don't know, Chris is at 275. I'm at $3. I don't know if you want to.
Well, if he's 249, then I am 6'4" and 180. So
going off
and
the
I'm going to
dock.
go to the DMV tomorrow and get my license changed.
Your Dr. Ronnie weight is like my Carol Burnett age. All right, love you, Carl. See you next week, honey.
Have a good one.
There you go. MooksForCarl.com.
Yes.
Do it. 46 minutes after the hour. Hi, good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Is it really? Because you see these bags under my eyes. For those of you who are in radio, I have these big bags under my eyes.
Yes.
I got up at 30 this morning, and that's why I'm having a triple Schadenfreude delicious cup of espresso.